So this is a bit random. It's 3:20 a.m. in the morning. Doing some interviews, working on stuff, and one of the things I thought I'll talk about is finding the balance in spiritual regard. And specifically, like a lot of people watch my videos where I talk about plenty of stuff. Afterlife, getting out of body, entities, how our life is affected, how to get most out of our life, how to be more in control of what we experience, and different things like that. And for some people, like they watch my channel and they're like, well, what the hell, Aquila is uploading different videos from Jordan Pierce, Mel Robbins. And for me, that was more like anything that I watch throughout the day, like while I'm working, while I'm doing my own stuff, I will have like a little podcast or a video or something in the side. And while I listen to it, it's like, oh, that's a good thing. Like, I think people should listen to that, like at least that one key thing. And if I see the exact same thing, like word for word, the exact same, I wouldn't feel like it's authentic. And I would have to like, I would say, listen and use that same idea and say it in other words probably. But with all that, it's like, why the hell am I talking about simple stuff like diet? Well, that's basics. But like physical body and what we experience rather than focusing just on spirituality. And I think it's like one of the probably most important aspects of learning and being in this spirituality thing. It's a lot of generalities, a lot of labels now, but it is very important to find the balance. People tend to read about things that are going on in the world. There are tons of books, tons of podcasts, videos, radio shows. With everything we're learning, there's just so much information that when we go deep to the rabbit hole and try to build out on the pillars of our understanding, kind of create a structure of how we see the world, and at the same time, well, people are looking for the purpose of being here. Why are we here? What's my purpose? What am I gonna do? Why am I targeted? Why am I experiencing this? Why this? Why that? We have so many questions that when we're learning about things, it can get very overwhelming. Tons of topics about the events in the world, tons of topics where people are going deeper into why things are happening. And at some point, for many, it becomes too much. For many, it becomes very depressing because the view of the world, with all of the events, with all of the stories, it is overwhelming, and people tend to think, like, well, what's the point of all this? It is only suffering. It's better to just kill ourselves, yada, yada, yada. And so many things that happen where it pushes people to this point of feeling hopeless, where they don't want to do anything, and they're just living in agony for a very long time. And recently I started like focusing more on very basic stuff. Listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, Jordan Peterson, Twin Robbins, Lewis House, Mel Robbins, and all the others that I prefer. They fit my worldview. They fit some of the things they say fit what I like, or it's the people I look up to in a way because they've been through shit. Simply speaking, everyone in their lives felt like on some days we don't want to get out of the bed. On some days we're feeling like crap. On some days we just want to give up. Doesn't matter what you've read about what's going on in the world, on some days you looked at yourself and you didn't like who you are. And the people whose videos I upload or someone that I read about and talk about more often, it's just that in my worldview, they have been through stuff and they found a way to get through it and get on the other side, meaning they found their answers and they got something out of their life, what makes them happy, what creates this freedom of doing what makes you happy whenever you want to, at any point in time with anyone. And with that, like it's important to like look at the basics while studying about different topics. You can look into the afterlife But until the point of your body dropping dead or, you passing away, you still have to live. You still have to live and deal with your body and deal with your surroundings and deal with relationships. And I would say it is very important to find a balance, not only focusing on the spiritual side, but also looking at yourself. And while you're here, whether you're stuck or not, whatever story you're telling to yourself, it is important to find that ground where you can be at least somewhat happy and at least somewhat enjoy your life to make your relationships better. So that it wouldn't be, I'm a victim and it's plain suffering and I hate this world and I don't know if I'm going to reincarnate or not. But more like, whatever the journey is, as long as I'm here, I'm going to enjoy it. Whether it's difficult or not, I'll get through it and I'll make most out of this experience. And these people that I talk about, or whose shorts I upload, just 1 minute segment, I think they say very important stuff and explain the very basics that people need to understand and look at. And it's important to have different perspectives. Like, I don't want to be a copycat. I will never be like them, but I look up to those people right now, currently. And I would say, like, it's important for everyone to find a figure that inspires them or at least shows them the way that whatever you want to achieve in life, it is doable. And here's a person that has done it, and you can follow the same stuff and get it too. That being said, like, I think, like, this topic, what I'm talking about right now is very generalized as well. But for most people, it's like it is important to remember that we are social creatures. It is important to remember that, like, life is made out of the most basic things. A lot of us are looking for this magic pill, magic solution to everything. Like, oh, there's this magical technique. Like, you're gonna read a book and find that one thing that's gonna change your life. But most of the books, most of the techniques, it's all gonna come back to the very basics. Breathing, what you focus on, having awareness, changing the story about yourself. Simple things like, well, bitch, like I knew that. Why did I read this book? And for most people, they read book after book after book after book after book and still not necessarily take action. And they have all this information and knowledge, but they don't really have time to apply it in life. It's like I say, it's like, oh, if you want to manifest stuff, you just have to do this and this and this. And most people fail because manifestation is not just, and even I'm guilty of it because, like, there's just so many things that is too easy to put in generalized words, but at the same time, we will never understand it to the fullest extent because there's just so many pieces to it. But like people are like looking at manifesting as like, oh, it's a feeling state. We have to look at the future as if it is your past and go with it. Yeah, that's cool. Uh-huh. Cool. So I have a house, like, oh, yep, already bought it. Living here is fun. Yep. And then you look around like, well, I hate this shit. Oh, relationships, yeah, like I love my husband. Ooh, that's so great. Like my wife, she's like amazing. And you look at all the scenarios and you look around and like, still lonely though. She's not writing back. He's not reading my text messages. Ah, hate this world. It's like, how are you gonna manifest shit? Like when you're looking at it. And again, we have to remember that manifesting, like with all of those techniques, it's a muscle. And it's something people don't like to hear because it would be great if we could just think about something, feel something. Okay, here it comes. Boom, manifest just right in front of you. You thought about being a millionaire. You didn't do shit. You didn't practice anything. You didn't like work really hard in life. And here it is, just $1 million falls on your table because you thought about it. And it's like, yeah, do you want to at least buy a lottery ticket or something? And that is the common thing where people have assumptions, people have feeling states and working on it, and they still give up because this whole process of visualizing and thinking, it is only a preparation work to get you in the state of mind of taking action every single day. And all coming back to what I said, like looking for that magic pill that will solve everything, that magical technique, it all comes back to basics. Think of martial arts. People are thinking of how they're going to use a special technique to fight and win and, like, really beat the enemy or the opponent. And all it is like, okay, well, there's a breathing, there's a stance, there's learning how to fall. It's like few very basic things that like, well, I thought I will use this technique that will change my life, but all I have to do is stand like this. And all I have to do is learn how to fall. And it's breathing. It's like, I knew that shit, but where's that thing? Where's that magic? It is the magic. The most basic things. Meaning the solution to it all. We are a bunch of stories, a bunch of techniques and everything else. But all it comes down to is, can you take action? You know that there's a feeling state you need to get. You know that you want to see your end goal. But to get to that end goal in your daily life, somewhere throughout the day, you will have to take a little action that will lead you closer to that goal. If you're gonna lay in bed all the time, not do anything, not even visualize it like yourself walking around doing stuff, not even visualize yourself talking to certain people. It's like you have to prepare yourself to get yourself in the state of mind of doing something. And it's like all the visualizations and everything else, just basic stuff. Can you actually get out of bed? Can you actually move around? Well, if you want to have a new house, but while you're laying in your couch and your apartment sucks, it's like if you want to get there while not doing anything, after all the visualizations and the feel good, like, ah, yeah, that was a good visualization, and you're still not doing anything, you open your eyes and you're still in your place that you don't like, you're gonna look around, you're gonna see like deep inside, that's not happening. You don't like it. So I think like most people have these variations of what they would like to get. They try various techniques for self-betterment. Like yesterday, I met this lady. I've been with my friend in the hospital. Uh, she went for the Marauder things and wanted me to be there to support her to just, walk it through it. Just be someone who's gonna be like, hey, it's all gonna be fine. Don't worry. So like I'm there. And I look around, it's like hospitals. Well, one thing is like you see people that are messed up. You see people that are going through issues, young and old. You see how the physical body reacts. And most people look at like, oh, like, getting out of body and like entity techniques and manifesting. And then you look in your daily life and look at how messed up it can be. How people can get into the car accidents, how people can fall, how people can, in their daily life, do some intense work, like lifting objects. Not necessarily heavyweight champion. No, you're just lifting, 6 pack of bottles or something, and you move wrongly, and then oopsie, gotta pull this. My back hurts. It's like that happens. So like with a lot of variations, I got to see how many people are having issues, and it really gives you perspective to appreciate life. You look at yourself and like, wow, I'm still healthy. And you need to get out of that comfort zone to appreciate the smallest things. Because then, well, you read a lot of stories about what's going on in the world, like, oh, Israel and Palestine and then the Olympics. And yeah, it's a cool story. There's a lot to it. But you watching it and having a thought about it isn't going to change anything. And you might be disappointed in the life and the system and the way things work, but that alone isn't going to change anything. And what you're doing is just feeding the system with your luge and your energy and your focus on it, and you just keep on co-creating it. So getting out of that zone of looking at all of the events and getting out into the real world for a while, you get a perspective of like, oh damn, so many people are having various issues. Everyone has something going on. And I've talked about this lady. She comes up and being a massage therapist, it doesn't take much with studies of the anatomy and how the physical body works and everything else to start noticing how absolutely everyone around you has physical body issues. The technologies and having a phone, well, everyone's gonna have neck issues. And it's like the hips are on, like a little bit twisted and it's like not aligned properly. So it already gets the back out of shape. One shoulder is upper, one shoulder is lower. We're gonna have like neck pain and have a hard time bending over and stuff like that. And like I look at this lady and it's so unlike me because like I used to be the person who's like, okay, just read the line, don't talk to anyone, just hurry up and get out of here. I look around. One person, another person. I'm just scanning everyone. I look at this lady like, of of course, it's not my business. Sorry for being intrusive and getting into her life, but like I say, that your hips are out of alignment. Is your back okay? Like, does it hurt much? And she starts telling her story and how she's been to many people and how they messed her up, and she has quite a few hernias and disc bulges and this is out of place, and then she got scared because like a few massage therapists really messed up her body and she couldn't move, and I'm like, well, I'd be the one. So like, like I was gonna work at some massage therapist. Like, she's no, I don't want anyone. Fine. It's like, but having conversation and just like looking into perspective where a person tried various techniques once, twice, things didn't work, and they lost trust, they lost the hope. They kind of gave up on the system, and this lady was in the point of, whatever you tell me, kiddo, it's not gonna work. And she had everything on this level of, I tried everything, and no one can help me. And I'll just stick to this body, and it sucks, but it's just the way it is. It is what it is. And I've learned enough with the clients, the people I work with, is that if people don't want your help, don't do it. They're in the level of their life where they've reached a point that their basic survival mechanisms going on where they will not accept your help until. But I'm like, okay, look, that's fine. I just recommended her stuff because she was going to see the dog and get herself looked up and stuff. But I was like waiting for my friend in line, and you can hear people in the office talking, and the doctor does the evaluation of the patient, and I hear one after another, like two to three people sharing and hearing the feedback. And I'm like, this is like, the system is not giving enough tips or information for the person. Like, my whole life, I kept hearing from the doctor, like, you have scoliosis, but it's too late. You can't do anything about it. You're gonna have scoliosis. Like, you can dance, you can do stretches, you can go swimming, but kiddo, like, nothing's gonna change. And I listened to them and I lost hope. And I found a guy that fixed me. When I stopped searching, when I stopped believing, I just had a back pain that I need a solution to, and that guy fixed me. Not right away, but 6 massages later, I was like, my back is straight. No more scoliosis. Like, what the hell? And I became a believer. Like, it just converted me into like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I want to do it. So for me, like, that was like, okay. Like, for someone is Jesus calling. Like, for me, that was like, that's it. Um, so I started learning about the body, how it works, and the body's freaking amazing because it just needs a tiny bit of your support. And it's going to do everything in its power to get itself back in shape because it wants to live and work at its fullest and work at its best. And like even that shiatsu technique that you might have seen my little channel, Akvile's Health Bar, where you're going to shiatsu, so you're gonna use like acupressure in certain points of meridians and just do a little, like, okay, well, there's a point, you're gonna take it and move it back. So you place your finger, you go deeper and you squeeze it, like push it down and get it like this. It's like, okay, simple. How the hell can that help? But like shiatsu finds balance between your sympathetic and parasympathetic like nervous systems. Shiatsu gives a signal to the body like of relax. Shiatsu stretches everything so that body itself could align itself to its individual's needs. And Japanese books, like like with the explanations of how the physical body works, like there is not a perfect body. Everyone's gonna be a little bit different. And when the book says this is how the human body should look like, and it has to fit in those standards, and everyone is trying to shape body into a book image, but everyone is absolutely individual and different. And we can't try to shape this individual body into what is being shown in the book. But realizing that, like the Asians, the Japanese, using their shiatsu techniques and knowledge, learn how to work with the body so that you would give it support and it would restore itself because it knows what to do. And I'm like, okay, so I listen to what the dog is saying and I listen to the tips, and it's like they're focusing on one part, but they're not going at the issue. They're like focusing on the symptoms, but not working with the problems. And they're just like, it wasn't a piss me off moment. It was like funny. It's like, not that I know better, not that I'm a guru, like, oh, I've learned a massage, everyone should listen to me. Like, no, not that. But it's like, I'm so happy that I've learned to work with the body because I've looked at the system. Uh, the hall in the hospital had like, I don't know, like the wall with bunch of papers where they have their licenses and their services and what to do and how much things cost and stuff like that. And I'm looking, and they're like, well, a massage of the body, $50 for only your shoulders, that much money for only this part. And I'm like, well, how about we read the anatomy books and learn that one body has not just muscles, but there are chains and everything's interconnected. Like your neck starts from your feet. So if you're gonna work on your hands and stuff, you start from your feet. If you want to work on your stomach, you're gonna start from the back and your feet and stuff like that. So like everything interconnects. And for me, like I see how people are spending their time working on stuff that's not gonna fix the body and not giving proper tips. And my friend, like, she has a few body problems, and she's like, "Well, what do I do? The dog gave me prescriptions for, like the medication from the pain and all of the therapies that I should do and stuff like that." I'm like, it's up to you to decide. Here's my point of view. If you want, we could try and like I can do massages on you, and we can definitely like if you don't want to, or with it all, you can choose to follow their lead. Not that I know better. But it's like I worked with her before, and I I don't know the name of what it's called, like probably the hunchback. But it's like people with different issues and stuff, like and a lot of it is psychosomatics. It's not just the physical body, but it's a buildup. And so many things build up to where, it's like getting a hunchback and everything else. Like she started having it. And like, fixing it with the oh whatever. I just gave her some tips and they're like, oh, well, let me work on you. If you ever feel like it, like we can meet up and work together and I can give you massages and work on the full system, not just focusing on one place, but work with the full body so that everything would release each part of the body would be well. So like we're gonna focus on it, but my point in it all, and I'm just like rambling because it's like 3 a.m. and I was like, hyping up, just drinking, uh, getting some coffee into my system so that like interviews and everything else, like, oh, like still uh, going. So let's make some videos and stuff. Anyway, in it all, while we're learning about what's going on in the world and the afterlife and the consciousness and how everything works and just like trying to make sense and still suffering in life and still experiencing some issues, I think it's important to find balance between things we're learning and then stopping that stuff and taking care of ourselves. That self-love and self-esteem and compassion for life and finding things that you will enjoy doing and finding things of your interest and finding a little purpose here and there and finding a goal. And with it all, it doesn't have to be fix this, fix that, work on this and work on that. Because like you watch a lot of my videos or however much you've listened to me or anyone else, a lot of people will talk about things you have to do to solve this. But through all this solving, we need to take a break and have fun. Because life isn't just about climbing another mountain like one after another to see the view and enjoy the process and everything else. A lot of people focus on it and like, even I in a lot of ways preach those ideas because it's like I look at what people are asking, I look at their focus and like, well, to solve this, here's your thing. To work on this, here's your thing. So it's always like a problem and here's how to work on it and a goal and here's how to reach it and stuff like that. And in it all, most of us forget to play. Most of us forget to enjoy life. And it becomes like the very basics. Most people are feeling like crap. Most people are feeling isolated. Most people are feeling helpless. Yeah, they're reading stuff. Yes, they're learning. But at the end of the day, when they put down their phones, when they take a break from their books and TV shows and radios and podcasts and movies and everything else, and you lay down in bed, how do you feel? Are you actually like okay? Are you doing okay? Or a lot has built up and you've learned to have this thick skin and like, I'll get through it. And a lot of people are living like that, where they've suffered so much where they become numb to life and they hate this place, but hey, at least they know a lot. But it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be just like, yeah, like this place sucks. My life sucks, but I know a lot. That's not something to be proud of. I think knowledge should come with practice and applying things and making our lives better. And look, I'm no pro. I have that days where I feel down. I have days where I feel depressed. I have days where I fail. I have days where I fall. I have days where so many things happen. And even though I know all of the techniques and stuff like that, I still, you know, have to catch myself like, oh, I knew what to do, but I got caught up in the moment. But every day with anything that happens around me, I'm learning to use those chances and opportunities to make most of those moments. And it's like one interview after another, and then like, okay, let's talk to another person. Oh, it didn't show up. And I could be like thinking tons of things and assuming stuff like, so that'll be next time. Or not. But since I'm up anyways, let's make a video. Let's like, enjoy this moment. So like there are tons of things to it, but every day we get the chance to focus on things and work on ourselves to make this life better. And specifically with everything we're learning, I think we should find the balance between having the knowledge and understanding of the world, and the information is constantly changing. So even things we're comfortable with, even the pillar and the belief system we have, sometimes it falls apart. But when that happens, we need to focus on ourselves. And how well are we doing in this life? How well are you balanced? How well are you taking care of yourself? It's not just the diet. It's not just the breathing. It's not just the journaling and stuff like that. Do you allow yourself moments of consciously being bored, consciously allowing yourself to pamper yourself, to take care of yourself? I know that at times, like I can work with people and it can get too heavy. And I've learned ways to cope with stuff. Go for a walk, take a bath, soak in it, stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, good. But that was just like solution. Now I'm like, how can I enjoy that moment more? Not just take a walk to, like kind of do some mindfulness and stop thinking about stuff and just like refocus. But like really, um, the Paulo Coelho book Alchemist, great story. And one of the parts in the book was the guy was walking in the castle and he had a spoonful of oil and he had to walk around the castle with the spoonful of oil without spilling it. And so he was like so focused on not spilling it that the beauty of everything around him he didn't saw. And so after having the conversation with the king or whoever was in there, he tried walking around again. But now, not just trying not to spill the oil, was looking around and being present and admiring everything around him. And so in life, while we have some goals, and while we have some problems that we're dealing with, and while we're trying to work through everything, learning that shift, like this happened, and then you can react, or this happened, and you're like, okay, we're just gonna deal with it. Just go with it. Whatever happens is like we're gonna work it out. But through this whole process, find beauty in life. Find some joy. Going for a walk to just like clear my head and notice how there's birds chirping and enjoying the breeze and finding beautiful things. Soaking in a bath, well, it's not just like, okay, yeah, just gonna help relax, but now adding some salt in it and the essential oils. And it's like little moments of noticing how my body is actually reacting, and slow little moments. Like finding grace and beauty in it all. So that through all of the processes, it's not just reading and learning how to deal and cope with things. It's not just like understanding situations. Like it's important. I'm not trying to minimize it and say like, oh, like, like downplay it and like what you're looking at and doing, it's wrong. Like, no. I think it's very important to study and understand things. But it's also very important to not be depressed in this place. It's so important to take care of ourselves to the level where we're feeling comfortable. We're feeling okay. So that it wouldn't be just surviving and existing, but actually living. And easy for me to say, but it's like every day there's something I can do to go through the day and make it a little bit better, to react differently, to take different actions, to take a moment and not say something I wanted to say, to see how the situation will play out differently, and, not being the reactive person, but observe and then do something. So I've touched on like a lot of things, but it's just like I think it's generalities. But at the same point, that balance, where we're doing something we enjoy, where we're doing something that's fun, and learning how to juggle and play with it, taking breaks and consciously be bored, lay down, consciously reward yourself with the ice cream, or go out to the park and do something that's fun, play your game, read your book, and then go back to doing stuff and like finding this. You have a goal or there's something you're learning about, but take a break and take care of yourself. Again, easy for me to talk because like I don't know your circumstances. You're probably going through a lot, but in it all, I think it's very important for us to find ways how to make our lives better, one way or the other. And like there's like a lot of learning, a lot of things to know and stuff, and tons of techniques and everything else. But with all the basics, you know yourself, you know the things you prefer, some of the things that would make you feel better, and doing it consciously. Anyway, there's a lot we can expand on, but that's about that for now. So, for those who watched, thank you for how long you stayed here. But yeah, try to take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.